Taylor here. So you figured out what motor you want. Now the question is, what should I get for shaft length or power? So now that we've entered the brushless era of trolling motors, voltage really doesn't matter. If you have a smaller boat, 14, 16 feet, you can maybe look at like a 12 volt power drive or something like that. Most of us are going to be in the 24 or 36 volt motors. So what size boat gets what? Any boat 19 or less, you can get away with a 24 volt motor. That should give you plenty of power. Once you get over 19 feet, 19 and a half, 20, 21 feet, I definitely recommend going to a 36 volt motor. You certainly are going to like to have the extra power on tap. You're not going to be working the motor as much, and in some cases it might just be necessary to have a 36 volt motor. Shaft length is a question I get asked a lot. For bass boats, you got 45, you got 52 inch. Where and when do I want what shaft length? I like to outfit most of my bass anglers with a 45 inch shaft here in Minnesota. The only time that would be different is if you are a serious offshore angler. You're fishing big lakes a lot, you're fishing Mille Lacs, you're going to Lake Michigan, you're fishing leech a lot. If you're an offshore smallmouth angler, that 52 inch motor is kind of going to be geared more towards you. Well, then you get the question of, well, I'll just get the 52 inch motor and I'll slide it up. The problem with that is if you have too long of a motor when you go to slide it up to fish shallow, you're going to have a head sticking up out of the water. So if you're trying to skip under a dock or you're trying to make a cast under a tree or just make a sidearm cast, it can get in the way. The other problem is with some boats, I know my personal Triton is like this. If you have the motor up to where it's in the shallow mode and you go to stow a 52 inch motor up, it's actually too far up on the mount, it won't stow correctly. So definitely weigh the odds. Are you more of a shallow, casual angler, or are you more of an offshore angler? That'll help you select the right shaft length for that. Most of your aluminum boat anglers, in that 17, 16 to 21 foot range, you're going to be looking at a 60 inch motor. We've got some customers with Ranger 622s that have 60 inch motors that are just fine with them. But a 60 inch motor is going to fit in most of your walleye or fishing boat style, your deep V's and stuff like that. 72. Stepping up into a 72, these are more geared for like your bigger Rangers, your bigger Skeeters, guys that are fishing a lot of big water. They're constantly fishing big water. They got the motor all the way down. They're fishing in big waves, big wind. That's where a 72 comes into play. Especially some of the bigger Warriors, 238s, 2121s. Those boats require a 72 just to work properly. So you want to find a shaft length that's going to fit you. You don't want one that's too long. You don't want one that's too short. So ultimately, kind of weigh your odds as to what you fish for. If you're a bass angler, you're going to be looking at 45s or 52s. If you're in that fishing boat range, your Lunds, your Crestliners, your Lumacraft, stuff like that, you're probably going to be happy with a 60. And if you're in your bigger fiberglass boats, you're going to be looking 60s or possibly a 72. If you have any questions on anything or you want a little bit more information, give us a call. We'll be happy to talk you through your options, kind of figure out what motor is best for you. Ultimately, we want all the customers to have exactly what they need for a good day on the water.